Hello, everybody. Katherine Reay here from the 10-Minute Book Talk, and I am here with my co-hosts Rachel Linden and Marie Bostwick, and we are so happy to welcome you to another Wednesday Book Chat. This week, we have Sue Meissner, one of our absolute favorites, beautiful, complex historical novels that you cannot put down, but this is not that day, and those are not this book. We are talking about her children's book today, Pumpkin Day at the Zoo. And Sue, hold it up again. So the cover is just charming and delightful, and it is out in stores now. And she's going to tell us a little bit about it. So Sue, tell us about your children's book.
Yeah, this is something I've wanted to do like forever. And I never really had I don't know, I think the confidence, I was lacking the confidence that I can write a children's book, and I don't draw anything at all. And so well, that's two strikes against me. I don't know how to draw. I don't know anybody who does draw, and I don't know if I can pull it off. But I have loved kid lit since way back when I was reading it as a little one, and then with my own children, and now with my grandchildren. And this idea came at me through a good friend. And this whole idea of Pumpkin Day at the Zoo, it's a real thing. And I don't know if your local zoo does this, but I live in the PNW now. But when I lived in San Diego, it was kind of a big deal for the San Diego Zoo, which is arguably the best zoo in the entire world. They would have Pumpkin Day. And it would be this wonderful day for the animals to have pumpkins put into their habitats. They could play with them, they could inspect them, they could eat them, they could toss them, they could do whatever they wanted. And it was a great day for the animals. They loved it. The zookeepers loved it, and the patrons loved it. So it was a win-win-win. And so I was tasked with, do you think you could write a children's book about this? And I'm like, yes, let me at it. So I wrote it in verse, which was so fun. I've always loved books in verse, and I wanted to give it a try for a long time. So I was able to write it in verse, and we found a great illustrator. Pablo was just amazing. His illustrations are just perfect, on point, spot on, wonderful. And anyway, I dedicated it to my own grandchildren, and it's been the funnest project ever. And the thing about this that's probably the most amazing is no tissues required. If you read any of my historical fiction, you might need a tissue or two. Not the case with the zoo. It's all happy. It's all wonderful.
That is so great. Well, oh my gosh, Sue, you answered a bunch of the questions.
Really good synopsis.
I'm madly stirring through. But I have a question. So yes, you are known for these like sweeping adult historical fictions that yes, often require a tissue, but this is your love project for your grandkids. Obviously, I would love to know, what has their reaction been to having grandma write this book? I mean, are they your biggest fans, or they had critiques? I mean, let me know.
Well, the thing about my grandchildren is they're little. Like the youngest is just a couple of weeks old, and the oldest is 8. And so to me, I'm just Mimi. And so, yeah, there's a book with, my name on it, but I'm Mimi to them. I'm not Susan Meissner. And they love books of all shapes and sizes. So my book is probably not like their absolute favorite, because I'm just right up there with Go Dog Go. I'm just like part of the menagerie of their books. And so when they're a little older, I'm going to expect more from them.
Exactly.
Right now, I'm just like, I'm in with all of their other childlike books, because, the average age of my grandchild is like 4. And so to me, to them, this book is like their other books, which I kind of like. I kind of like that I'm right in there with, Dr. Seuss and all the other books that they love.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's so fun.
This is an adorable concept, and I'm curious, what are you hoping that young readers or readers of all ages gain from the story as they read it?
I think for me, the main thing is just happiness, gratefulness. Some days are better than others. It's true. Some days are just special, and it's great that we have those special days. There's an underlying theme of recycling, which is fine. I'm all for recycling. I'm all for reusing things when we can, repurposing things when we can. But for me, even though that's one of the, I guess you could say the gems about the book from the publisher standpoint, is it's about recycling. To me, it's really just about the joy of sharing something. with the animals, but it's also the joy of just having a special day that's unlike any other day, a day you look forward to. It only happens once a year, and it's coming, and you can't wait for it. And even though when the day is over, the day is over, but it's going to be back around. Next year it's going to come back around.
Oh, I love that. And I think that really resonates with children. I have young children, and like their birthdays are like their happiest days of the year, and they would plan their birthdays for 364 days. Like, I had to put a moratorium and be like, no, 6 weeks before we can start talking about it. Otherwise, just write it down or draw a picture, because mommy can't handle 11 months and 30 days of birthday planning. But yeah, I love that idea that some days are special and some days are better than others, and we can look forward to it, and a good day will come again if you're having a hard day. And I love that. That's something that I think, adults, we need to be reminded of that too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Resilience there. I love it. Hope and resilience. It's beautiful. Okay, so you mentioned that you loved the illustrations. And is there one in particular that you could hold up so that we could even see?
Oh gosh,
Wow,
that really hard one.
That really speaks to you? I know that's really hard to ask.
Yeah, the pictures are of animals in their habitats enjoying the pumpkins. I want to find the one there's one with here it is. Okay, so this is the beaver exhibit. And so I don't know if you can see this, but Pablo
we can see it. Oh my goodness. That's adorable.
And what's really fun about that is I only gave him like the barest, like, here's what the animals are, like maybe the beavers are building a dam and the pumpkins are like part of it or whatever. And he's the one that came up with, no, we're going to have the beaver looking at it through it. And so I love that. Another thing he does is I asked him to have chipmunks in all the pages, kind of like an Easter egg.
Yes.
So it's like, I don't mention it in the beginning at all. I want the kids and their readers, grandma, grandpa, mom and dad, like to say, do you see the chipmunk? And then for them to start finding it on every page. And then the last page I can show you is like the chipmunks are stealing little fragments of the pumpkins, and they're like ferreting them away to their own little habitat. And so the last page is the chipmunks enjoying all the pieces of the pumpkins that they had picked up. And I didn't really give them a whole lot of instruction. I said, I just want there to be chipmunks, scattered like Easter eggs, there but not there. And on one of the spreads, he has the chipmunks, and they're like Washington on the Delaware. It's like,
that's hilarious.
While we're talking, I'm going to find it for you because it's really,
I love that.
Yeah. And I feel like he really went like out of his way to be creative with those chipmunks, because they're not the star of the show, but in a way they are. It's kind of
these little gems on every page.
Yeah, that's great.
I love hearing about the back and forth between the two of you, though. That's like really, it sounds very collaborative.
I think I can't find it right now. It's there. I think the thing about people who are doing what they're gifted to do, like Pablo, he's really good at this, is that I only needed to, and this is all just, these are email conversations with the publisher as a go-between. Is like, how about this? And right away, he was tracking with me, I guess you could say. And I think it's because he's in his lane. He was meant to do this. And I think that's why he was just able to do it so well.
And it's brimming with joy. Those illustrations are just brimming with delight and joy. You can feel that it's such a special day that all the animals are having. I love that.
Love that.
So will you do more children's books?
After this book came out, and I had a blast, and I think everybody on my team, we just really enjoyed this project. They were like, do you think you might want to do another? I'm like, yes. And so they came up with another great idea, because I was like, I'm noodling on all of this. This is a whole new genre for me. So I'm like way out in the stratosphere. And they're like, well, how about a book about Mimi? Like, that's who you are to your grandchildren. And they thought, what if we did one where it's to Mimi's house we go? And it's a riff on To Grandmother's House We Go. So it's going to be a Christmas book. It's coming out next September. And
my goodness.
It is all about going to your grandmother's house at the holidays. And so on every page, the Mimi person is called Mimi. But at the very end of the book, I have a verse that says, no matter what you call her. And grandmothers have a lot of fun names, Mima, Oma, Nana, Gammy. There's all kinds of names for grandma, but no matter what you call her, that her house is a place of love, and you'll always feel wonderful and special there. especially at the holidays, but all year round too. And it's also kind of an homage, not just to grandmothers everywhere at the holidays, but just the different places you can go and how you get there. So the opening stanza is about Mimi in the Pacific Northwest, which is where I live. So her grandchildren are coming to her on a ferry, because a ferry is different. You know, in the classic Christmas tune, to grandmother's house we go, it's a horse and a sleigh, and they know the way. And yeah, and this is like, okay, well, it's a ferry on one page, it's a cable car in San Francisco on another, it's a plane on another, it's horseback on another, and then each spread is about a different. It's pretty much a book about coast to coast America, and so each spread is a different area of the United States, because I want all children, no matter where you live, to be able to recognize themselves kind of in the illustrations. And then if they don't call their grandma Mimi, at least when they get to the last page, they'll realize, oh, well, that's who I call. That's who I call my grandma. So yeah, I'm really excited. It comes out in September for next holiday season.
That's amazing. I love it. That's fantastic. I'm so glad you're continuing with children's stories, because clearly they bring you joy and they bring us joy. So.
They do bring me joy, and the fun part is that there's no angst. You know, I love writing about difficult situations because they teach us who we are, but sometimes it's just nice just to kick back and have fun.
Yeah, that is so true. All right, speaking of kicking back and having fun, what is bringing you joy today, other than all these great children's books? That is what we end every 10-minute book talk with, and it's a very important question.
So. I love that. You know, I love the transition from summer to fall. It's spectacular in lots of ways. Maybe it's subtle where you live. I used to live in San Diego, and it was very subtle, which means you had to go looking. You had to go looking for those subtle transitions. Here, we're nearly in Canada. It's beginning, and it's just like there's somebody out there with a paintbrush in the middle of the night, and you wake up and there's just a little more color to the foliage outside, and a little less density. Like I can just tell the woods behind my house, they're not as full as they were, but it's a quiet transition, and yet so vibrant. And I know winter is coming, but winter brings its own set of wonder too, and the holidays, of course. And I just think this transition from summer to fall is one of the most beautiful times.
I agree with you. It's one of my favorite times of the year. I love it. So thank you so much, Sue, for being with us today. And thank you all. Oh, hold your book up one more time so everyone can see the fabulous cover. Pumpkin Day at the Zoo, everybody. A great fall gift for the little one in your life. And thank you again for joining us at the 10-minute book talk. And we will see you next week for more bookish fun.
Thank you. Bye.